I'm just a man with needs. I'm just a man with needs. Come on, baby, and service me. Come on, come on, baby, and service me. I'm just a man with needs. I'm just a man with needs. Anyways, speaking of that, I've been on this kick lately where it's just, it's been a while. It's been at least over a year, and it's been bugging the shit out of me. Because a lot of people have this idea that I'm no longer a Christian, or if I ever was, and blah, 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 blah. You know, listen, my beef has always been this. This is my personal Christian testimony. If your bullshit doesn't line up with the words in red that Jesus spoke, then you're full of shit. Okay, so when it comes to GOP talking points, if those GOP talking points don't line up to the Word of God, then you're full of fucking shit. Okay, that's more of a Christian testimony than some of these assholes in the pulpit want to spew out to the rest of the people. Now, first off, I think they do a major disservice, because every church you go to, there is that select group who are just brain dead as fuck. They don't know any better. I could name names. I could tell you people that we know. Okay. And what they do is they buy into everything, hook, line, and sinker, because their pastor told them. Because the pulpit propagated bullshit. Okay. Oh, the GOP is the way to go. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And they eat it up. They buy it up. They watch Fox News, and they're told what to think. They have no brain cells at all. They can't think for themselves at all. They literally regurgitate the same talking points. Like, oh, tax cuts for the rich create jobs. Really? When have we ever seen that? We have never seen that. Never. Look at history. We have never seen it. Did it happen in the 80s with Reagan? No. The economy was shit. Did it happen under W? No, we had a recession. The economy was shit. Okay, it's a fact. Look it up. Trickle down does not work. You can wish in one hand and crap in the other, and it sounds good and blah, 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 but it doesn't freaking work. It just doesn't. Now, I'm sorry, but if you call yourself a Christian conservative, I'd like to know what the fuck it is you're conserving. What? You're conserving money from a fallen kingdom? In a fallen world, you're going to conserve we're going to save that money for our grandkids. Oh, really? Really? That money's going to burn in hell, son. You're full of shit. It pisses me off because okay, for example, like Jesus said, you do unto the least of these, you do unto me. Like, gee, we saw you naked, we clothed you. When did we do this? They said. He said, when you saw somebody else who needed help and you did it for them, you also did it for me. Yet, look at what we're doing in this country. We're going to deport people. Oh, they're here illegally. We're going to deport them. Now, I mean, seriously, you want to talk about Jesus and like when he was born and shit, and they had to flee because they were going to kill the firstborn and all that bullshit? I mean, imagine if somebody deported them back to their country. Jesus would have died as an infant. That's the moral of the story. You want to deport fucking people because are you kidding me? You do unto the least of these, you do unto me. So you want to deport these people, you're deporting Jesus. You're basically killing Jesus as an infant. Is what you're doing. You're a fucking nit. You're an idiot. Listen to the shit that you say. Listen to the bullshit that you propagate from the pulpit. Now, I understand, listen, they're illegal. Fine. Guess what? You don't have to kill them. You don't have to fucking behead them. You don't have to imprison them for life. Fine them. Put a fine on them. Do something. You don't have to go crazy. Oh, gotta report you back. Oh, gotta round you up. You know how much fucking money it would be to round up all ICE and all this bullshit to round up all these fucking people? Do you get it? So why not find them? Put some more money back into the economy. Put some more money back into all this bullshit. Okay. Now, obviously, you can't cripple them. It has to be based upon what they have, you know, you can, like, if they're making 10 cents an hour, you can't take, 8 cents of it. You can't completely fuck them over, but, let's be honest. They pay a fine, they get in line. What's the problem there? Well, it's amnesty. Who gives a fuck? Who cares if it's amnesty? Listen, I'm separating the GOP conservative with the GOP Christian conservatives. The Christians, I'm asking the Christians, not the GOP. If you want to be godless and whatnot and be like, oh, I like God, but okay, fine. I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to people who are at church. I'm talking to the people we know. I'm talking to the people who love their Bibles and read their Bibles and I love Jesus. Those people. They're the ones that I'm talking to. Okay. I'm not talking to them. I'm not talking to the other people. You want to be a GOP conservative? Hey, more power to you. I am not talking to you. I'm talking to the born-again Christian who says I'm a Christian conservative. Now, I want to know what the fuck it is you're conserving. First off, what are you conserving? We're in a dead, dying world run by fucking Satan. That's what you're telling us from the pulpit, at least. And you want to conserve something of this world. What are you conserving? Now you want to get cute. Let's talk about manna back in the Old Testament. If they took more manna for the day than they needed, it would spoil by the next day, unless it was the day before the Sabbath, and they were to take that day and then some for tomorrow, the next day. And if they, like I said, if they took too much, it would spoil. It would. So if we're looking at from a biblical perspective, how much shit do you need? How much do you need to conserve? Now, don't get me wrong. There's a rainy day fund is one thing. Having extra food and water, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Being prepared, there's nothing wrong with that. But being to the point where you've got so much you don't know what to do with, all the while there's kids in Ethiopia who are fucking dying. Okay. And I'm guilty of that too. I don't give money to kids in Ethiopia. I buy video games. Although I buy video games simply because I don't want to stare at a wall, wish I had a gun in my mouth, but that's the whole other story for a whole other day. But I'm just as guilty. Seriously, there are kids in Ethiopia who have 2-liter soda bottles with duct tape around their feet for shoes. All the while I'm buying stupid video games. So hey, I'm just as guilty. I'm preaching to the choir here, because I'm just as guilty about it too. But I'm not going to sit there and pretend that the GOP give a flying fuck about religious matters. I mean, seriously? I mean, honestly, God, do you really think the GOP collectively give a flying fuck about abortion and the morality thereof? They don't give a damn. They simply don't want to pay for it. Hear the words. They do not want to pay for it. That's a far cry from they stand against it because it's morality and Bible and Jesus and the unborn. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. There are people who are Christian conservatives who do care about that, yes. But collectively, the GOP don't give a fuck about none of that. Like I said, they don't want to pay for it. That's all it is. If it were not an issue, as far as paying for it, like tax dollars going toward it, they wouldn't do a damn thing about it. They wouldn't care. None of them. It's a fact. Well, it's not true. Yes, it is absolutely true. The only ones who would care are the few who do care. Okay. Now, yeah, there's people in there who do care. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But as a collective, you think they're going to do anything? First off, you're never going to end abortion. You can't end abortion. It's impossible. Okay? Even if you overturned Roe v. Wade, and this is what people don't understand. If you overturned it and quote-unquote made it a state's right, and guess what? The red states would abolish it. The blue states would embrace it. So as long as you have blue states, you're going to have abortion. Okay, so this idea that's going to be outlawed, and even if it was outlawed here completely, it's still happening in the rest of the world. So you're never going to, you're like, oh, there's one little safe haven. Oh, okay, whatever. But again, I don't think a lot of Christians understand that. They're like, oh, we need to overturn Roe v. Wade. We need to overturn it. We need to overturn it. We need to overturn that. We need to overturn that. We need to do it. We make sure that happens. In Jesus' name, it needs to happen. Even if it did, you're still not going to end it. Again, it doesn't work that way. People need to understand what they're talking about, and most people don't. You got because I'm sorry, every church has that group of brain dead people who just like, oh, we need to overturn Roe v. Wade because it just sounds good. It sounds good. Like, oh, we need to build a wall because it sounds good. But when you actually look at what it takes to get that done and the impossibility of it, it crumbles like literally a house of cards. And I'm sorry, but people from the pulpit do a disservice to those kind of people. Those brain-dead Christians who just want to just go with the flow. They don't want to rock the boat. They listen to stuff that that basically tickles their ear and says what they want to hear. And anything outside of that, they defend vehemently. We're talking like head spinning, pea soup. We're talking exorcist type shit. Like, go up to an Orthodox Jew and say Jesus is Lord. It's like the Exorcist. Okay, their head spins around the whole nine. It's awful. It's awful. And the same thing here. And it's disturbing. It is disturbing because then they will go off and they will recite these GOP talking points. Like, for example, oh, Donald Trump's tax plan is going to cut taxes for the middle class. Yay! Except for the simple fucking fact they consider the middle fucking class to be $450,000. Do you understand it? Do you make $450,000 a year? No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay, they're considering that middle class. 450,000 middle class. They're part of the 5%, dude. Do you understand that? So when you put that into perspective and quote unquote the middle class is getting a tax break, do you understand what that means? Now, if you're down in the 50s and 60s, which is the average middle class, legitimately, how much money do you think you're going to see back? Not a whole lot. Not like the 450,000. Not like the millionaire. Not like the big corporation. Now, you want a tax plan? I say cut corporation tax by 5%. That would help them out tremendously. But cutting it 20%, you're talking about literally raping the economy. Okay, and especially when you have an idiot president who doesn't know business. I'm sorry, he doesn't. He has done so much shit. He's basically thrown everything he has at the wall and hope something would stick. Whether it's Trump steaks, whether it's Trump University, whether it's Trump cologne, whether it's Trump I'm an asshole, whatever the fuck he's been selling. Okay. He's just hoping something sticks. He is not a good businessman. Now, yeah, he's got money, sure. That don't mean he's a good businessman. He's gone bankrupt 6 times. He's ruined people. I mean, I'm sorry, the idea that, oh my God, Obama's going to take Joe the plumber's money and hand it out to people. Oh no. They hated that. But they love the fact that Trump went bankrupt because, quote unquote, he's a good businessman. Yeah, you know what that means? You know what it means when you go bankrupt? Especially when you don't pay the shit? That means you had Joe the fuck plumber. That means you had 9 to 5, $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, if that. Had them come in and do work, and then when it was time to pay the bill, he stiffed them. And that's quote unquote good business, which, hey, it is. You got the work done, and guess what? Didn't have to pay for it. That's good business, in a way. But guess what? That's you, motherfucker. That's you, the real middle class. All you fucking trumpets who want to trumpet that fucking shit. He's raping you people, and you're like, tax for the middle class. Tax for the middle class. You fucking retards. Seriously. Put the fucking horn on your wheelchair, because you're fucking retarded. You fucking retard. Put the horn on your wheelchair, idiot, because you're stupid. And I'm sorry. Fucking Neanderthals, all you people are. Now, listen, I don't want to say, oh, stop being a GOP conservative and come quit your day job and come be a liberal. I'm not even saying that. Liberals got their own fucking issues. I'm saying if you're a Christian and you turn a blind eye to some of the bullshit that's in that fucking party, then you, my friend, are part of the problem. In fact, you are the problem. You are the fucking problem. I'm sorry. The idea that 81% of evangelicals voted and still support Donald Trump is disgusting. Well, he's like King Cyrus, he's like King David. Oh, except for the simple fucking fact that King David was at least repentant of being an asshole. You think Trump is going to get on his knees and say, "Dear Lord, forgive me for being an asshole"? No. His ego's too fucking big for that shit. Give me a break. Oh, he's just like King David. Yeah, he's just like King David. Yeah, sure. Yep, he's just like spitting image of King fucking David. Like, you kiss my fucking collective dick, assholes. Unfucking believable. I'm sorry, these people just are stupid. It has to be stupidity. It has to be like brain dead, like I hit my head against a pulpit or something. I tripped and fell and hit my head on the pulpit. Fucking retarded. Okay, it has to be. It has to be. You want to talk about the great delusion? Now think about this. Let's just ponder this. And let's just hear me out. Even if I'm 1% right on this, there's still a problem. Let's talk about the great delusion that many will fall away. Well, no, okay, what is it based upon? It's based upon Lucifer. It's based upon him. Now, what was he? He was an angel of light. He masquerades around as something he's not. The Bible says he is like a roaring lion. He prowls about seeking whom he may devour. A roaring lion. Now think about that. A roaring fucking lion. Now you picture that shit. You picture like you know, the fucking lion prowling about in the tall grass. And he's just waiting for his opportunity. He's waiting for his opportunity to strike. He's calculating. He waits for the right moment. He pretends to be something he's not. He's a liar. He's a liar. And if this world is run by him, then everything in this world is tainted. So the idea that, oh, America is of God, America is the greatest thing since sliced bread, America's great, America's wonderful. We have two political parties, and the GOP and the right, they're God's party. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you brain dead? Are you brain dead? He masquerades around as something he is not. This country is not Christian. You cannot say that. You cannot say that we have not done Christian things. I can tell you that much. Now, yes, God can use anything to his advantage. So, yes, God can use America to his advantage. And yes, God did do things in America. Or was it Satan? I don't know. I mean, when you really think about it, like, oh, this land was just ripe for opportunity. Yeah, ripe for opportunity. We came in and we raped and murdered brutally, by the way. This wasn't just like, oh, just like throw in the back and, okay. No, we brutally raped these fucking people on multiple levels and stole their fucking land. That's Christian? That's God? Like, oh, yeah, God's going to save these people here, but they're heathens, so let's just go rape and kill them. Oh, sure. All the while we have black slaves building the fucking infrastructure. Seriously. 3/5 a human being because they're black. That's Christian. That's Christian. That's Christian. Okay. So far our foundation has been pretty shitty, but okay. We're a Christian nation, sure. Do you see a cross? Do you see a fucking cross at the national capital? The nation's capital? Do you see crosses? No. You know what you see? Egyptian fucking penis statues over reflecting pools, which is occultic as fuck, by the way. Okay. Evil. Our dollar bill. E pluribus unum. You know, seriously, out of many come one. You know what that is? It's a prophecy of the fucking Antichrist, for fuck's sake. You do realize that. Out of the sea will come a beast. Out of the people, the sea is usually represented the people, a beast will come. An asshole will come. Out of many will come one. It's a fucking prophecy. The unfinished pyramid. The fucking all-seeing eye. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, oh, that's the greatest Christian nation ever, man. That's great, man. Jesus gave us the Christian nation. It has Egyptian penis statues in it. It has reflecting pools. Even the goddamn fucking dollar bill's got a goddamn owl in it. Do you understand? It's got a hidden fucking owl. It's got Moloch on the fucking dollar bill in the little corner. Do you understand? It has a fucking owl. Worship money. Holy fuck. In a Christian nation. I don't see Jesus on the fucking dollar bill. Do you? Do you see Jesus? Do you see Paul? Do you see anybody else? No. You see assholes. You see Illuminati fuckheads. Illuminati fuckheads. Mason fuckheads on the dollar bill and on the other fucking bills. They were Illuminati fuckers is what they were, and they were prophesying the one world fucking government. We are that one world fucking government, you idiots. Are you kidding me with this shit? It's plain as fucking day. This isn't Conspiracy Theory 101. I don't have the tinfoil hat on. Look at the back of your goddamn dollar bill. All-seeing fucking eye. What is that a representative of? Egyptian shit? Pyramids? Oh, gee, where are the pyramids? What do we associate with that? Egypt? Now, granted, the pyramids were everywhere. Don't get me wrong. Actually, you want to know the God's honest truth. This is my own personal belief. I think the one the Tower of the Babel hit and everybody dispersed, that's where they all started making pyramids everywhere because they were building that shit and they knew nothing else, and they're like, oh, let's just go someplace else and build it. I think it was tied together because it would explain very nicely why there are pyramids all over the fucking world and all different parts of the world when they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be there based upon our understanding what we think we know of history, which is bullshit, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. Why were they building seriously, why were they building pyramids? Why were the Mayans? Why are there Mayan temples and pyramids and shit? Why? They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be there. But yet, there's a collective theme all around the world. There's a collective fucking theme. And it's actually kind of weird because the shit lines, like if you did like a Google Earth thing and drew a line from like one to the other, there's literally like an entire like pattern of how these things just are mapped out. It's weird, but that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. But I mean, think about that shit. And we're this big bad Christian nation. Really? We sure as fuck have it. I don't think we've ever done anything Christian in this country. Name me one thing that we really have done. Name me one thing. Are we doing Christian shit now? We're deporting people. That's not very Christian. Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love thy enemy. You know, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. I mean, seriously, if you were fleeing your country, you want a better life for your family, you want somebody deporting you? Really? Is that what you would want? Well, I broke the law. Okay, if you broke the law, but do you really want to go back to your shithole country? I mean, seriously, think about it. Think about it. Jesus is a baby. They had to flee. Imagine if he got deported. And they found him. He'd be dead. He would have died as an infant, you fucking idiot. Think about it. We can't just give them a free pass. We can't just then don't find them. Find them. I'm sorry. If you drive faster than the speed limit, the cops just automatically, well, unless you're black, but do the cops just automatically pull you out of your car and shoot you because that's a penalty for speeding? No, you pay a fine. You get over it. You move the fuck on. I mean, well, it's amnesty. Who the fuck cares? First off, we're told as Christians that this is not our world. This is not our home. Our home is in heaven. Kingdom come, thy will be done. Bullshit. Okay, it's all coming. It isn't here yet. We're living in a fallen, sinful world. That's what we're told. Yet we're complicit with the fucking fallen part of the world. It's like, well, blah, blah, blah. We got to make America great. First off, America will never be great. You know how I know? Because kingdom come. His kingdom has not come. America is not his kingdom. Oh, it's the last beacon of hope. Well, if we're the last beacon of hope, then we're pretty well fucked. Okay, I've said this before. I'm going to continuously say it. I believe that when Satan tempted Christ in the wilderness, he showed him literally all the kingdoms of the world. Past, present, and future. I believe that. Because some people want to say, oh, it was just he took him up on a hill and you could see like 5 or 6 different towns, like it was some sort of stupid Lord of the Rings thing where they're looking up over the hill and the different fires are lighting and all that stuff. No, you're not going to see that from a fucking hillside, and you're not going to see it very well. I think there was definitely some sort of vision there. Now, I don't want to add to the Bible or anything. This is my own personal thought on it. Because think about it. Why would anybody care about Damascus 33 AD? Okay, it's like, oh, okay, I'll denounce God for Damascus. Ooh, I'll denounce it for Jerusalem. Ooh, I mean, really? Now you show them the bright lights of Vegas, I'd be like, hey, see you, God. I'm going to go throw some Plinko chips down the little slot there. Hey, I'm a realist. I could deal with that. Now, again, that's speculation. Again, that's just my own personal thought on it. Because it would make sense. Because, again, if he's showing him just local shit, you wonder why Jesus rejected that shit. Either way, doesn't matter. Jesus rejected all the kingdoms of the earth, past, present, and future. Even if he didn't see them, even if it wasn't like a vision, although, there is some biblical ideas for what I just said being true, that there was like a vision of France and Paris and some of these other big places and, stuff like that. New York City, I mean, imagine that. He'll show you these kingdoms, there is some biblical truth to that. So it's not just speculation. It could very well have been the case. But again, I don't want to add to the Bible. That's just, like I said, my own personal thing. But again, he rejected all that shit. He rejected it. His kingdom was about the Father's kingdom, not some earthly made by hand, made by man's hand bullshit. Okay, this is an earthly kingdom versus heavenly kingdom. He chose the heavenly kingdom that you can't see, you don't even know if it exists. He chose that over anything you could do here. So that includes America. Okay, America was built by man's hand, actually built by slaves' hands, but that's neither here nor there. 3/5 a human being. After we railroaded the freaking Native Americans, had turkey with them and then fucking raped them. I mean, think about that. Imagine that being your Thanksgiving. Now think about that. You have your turkey with grandma, and then you go rape her in the back alley and then force her out of her house. I mean, think about that. That's basically what you did. That's basically what we did as a collective Christian nation. We raped a bunch of people. Do you understand it? I mean, physically raped them, emotionally raped them, sexually raped them. We fucked them, is what we did. I mean, they don't call it the Trail of Tears for nothing. And then, we made up for it. We gave them a couple casinos. Yeah. Woo. Yeah, sure. Uh-huh. Why do you think it's called the Mohawk Valley? Huh? Why do you think it's called the fucking Mohawk Valley up here in New York? Okay, they ain't called the Rome capital of shitholes and the Pope Francis fucktards. Okay, no, it's called the Mohawk fucking Valley. Because that's what it was called back in the fucking day when the people who used to live here lived here. Before we went out and, John Wayne and Clint Eastwood and shot him in the dick and scalped him and all this other fucking shit. And they were portrayed as the bad guys. Hey, they were, I guess they were. To the New World Order, they were the bad guys. To the Illuminati New World fuck order, they were the bad guys. You see all these fucking black and white westerns and those damn savages. They're a bunch of savages. Yeah, they were defending their own fucking homeland. What the fuck? Give me a break. John Wayne should have got his dick blown off. You want to be honest truth, but nobody wants to hear that because John Wayne was a hero. Yeah, see, that's how you play it out. The GOP is the hero because they stand against abortion. They don't give a fuck about the morality of abortion. They don't care that somebody took a coat hanger and shoved it into a fetus's eye. They don't give a fuck about none of that. They don't care. Then as long as they don't have to pay for it, as long as the rich handlers don't have to pay for it. That's all it is. That's all the fuck it is. That's all it comes down to. And nobody's got the heart to say it. Nobody. I'm not hearing it from anybody at the pulpit. They're looking at me like I'm an asshole. They're looking at me like I'm some heathen fuck who's turned against the faith. And I mean, give me a break. I've said if your shit don't line up with the words in red, you're full of shit. Okay, you are full of shit. To the brim. I mean, it's like Annalus Maximus. I mean, that's what it is. It's up to your ass and shit. Yet I'm the one who fell away. Now think about what the great delusion actually is. And as I started to get into this before, like what is Satan? Father of lies, angel of light, roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour, etc., etc. What better way to screw over Christians? Because now let's be honest, from the point of view that the Christians have, this is what we were told, Satan, once we are saved, he cannot unsave us, so that's a lost cause, but he can fuck us over by making us do things and believe things that are not true. Now think about what that means. Because what better way to get back at God than to have his own children reject him without even realizing it, and bastardize his very existence without even realizing it. That is what I think the great delusion is going to be, the quote-unquote falling away. Now think about this. How many people promote words of Christ from the pulpit versus GOP talking points? Think about that. Think about what I just said there. How many people in the pulpit that we know promote what Jesus said versus what the GOP say? You need to deport people. You think Jesus would have deported people? No, he ate with sinners. When's the last time you heard from the pulpit somebody say you need to eat with a sinner? What do you hear from the pulpit? You don't work, you don't eat. Take away their food stamps. Take away their welfare. That's what you're hearing from the pulpit. That's not Jesus. That's not what Jesus stood for. If our goal is to be Christ-like, that is not Christ-like. That's bullshit, is what that is. Because again, we're in a fallen world, so who gives a flying fuck? And again, this idea of like, oh, it's my hard-earned money, it's my hard-earned tax money. But again, every time we had offering, what was the words they said? It ain't your money, it's God's money. He gave it to you, and all he wants is 10%. But those were exact words from the pulpit of our church. And now when it comes to this stuff, oh, it's my money, I worked hard for it. Oh, really? Really? I think God would have something to say about that. Call me crazy. Call me a fucking heathen. Tell me I'm falling away. Tell me I'm the one in the great delusion. I see this shit clearer than anybody else. And here's a kicker. I don't read my Bible every fucking day, and it pisses me off. It doesn't piss me off that I don't read it. That in and of itself is a problem. I'm not pissed off about that. What I'm pissed off about is the fact that I don't, but yet I see this clearer than most people from the pulpit who study this 24/7. They study this 24/7, but yet they're all on board on deportation. Now here's the thing. Let's say a bunch of people did jump the fucking border, came into the country. Well, you know what? Here's a newsflash. Our goal is to propagate the gospel of Christ. Well, guess what? Those are some souls that you could help win. Instead, no, you want to build a fucking wall so they can't get in. Think about that. We should be about the work of the Father, not the work of a bunch of fucking greedy assholes. And why are they so worried about it? Why are the Republicans so worried about this? Why is this an issue? I mean, other than, yeah, there are some bad people who do come over, and there are some drug dealers who come over with drugs. Okay, other than that, We're talking the just average person who brings his family over to try to get a better life. Now, yeah, did they break the law? Sure. Should they be fined? Should there be some punishment? Yes. Should they be sent back? I mean, if they've been here 10 years, really, you're going to send somebody back, especially the kid, especially if they had kids who were either born here or came over as infants. You're going to take them away, 15, 16-year-old kids who only have known this culture and this lifestyle. You're going to send them to wherever fuck they come from? Seriously? I mean, think about that. Think about that. They may not legally be American, but they are Americans. Okay? They're more American than some people, I tell you that much. That's a simple fact. I would rather have them than some of these fucking idiots in the White House, I'll tell you that much. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Now, again, I'm not condoning that they've done something bad. I'm not saying they shouldn't be punished for it. I've never said that. But again, what is the punishment? What is the ultimate punishment for someone who does that? Do we behead them? Do we just put them in the electric chair? No, that's a little bit harsh. Okay, that's a bit harsh. Okay, I think you could admit that. Oh, we need to run. Again, think about the logistics of it. You're taking people who've been here, many for decades. You're going to round them up, basically just dump them at the border and say, have fun. They're going to take away all their property. You're going to take away all their stuff. And you're going to dump them at a border and say, come back in 2 years. Do it the right way. Are you fucking kidding me with that shit? And all the while, we got Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly and all these assholes at Fox News talking about, the breakup of the family, the breakdown of the family. That's the cause of America's problems, the breakdown of the family. Yet you're going to take daddy who's illegal, ship him back because you're worried about the breakdown of the family. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Stop being so goddamn hypocritical. That's one thing that pisses me off about these fuckers. They're so freaking hypocritical. You say one thing on Sunday and do another the rest of the week. I'm sorry, GOP talking points do not line up with the Bible. They don't. You can try to bend them and shape them into whatever you want, but they're still bullshit at the end of the day. They are. Now, I'm not saying there should be some sort of caliphate or some sort of, Sharia law where it's like, everything the Bible says we must do as a nation. Obviously, there's certain things. Yeah, sometimes a nation has to go to war. Yeah, sometimes a nation has to do certain things that maybe are not typically biblical. So I don't want to be naive when I say that. And I understand that. But when it comes to the collective morality of the country, yes, you can have Christian values. We, right now, do not have Christian values. GOP do not have Christian values. You could go down the freaking 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's shit. Yet we keep hearing, food stamps and welfare, and oh my God. Like, all these people on food stamps, they go out and they buy the good meat. What constitutes good meat? Buying any meat or just the really good stuff? Like, what are we talking here? You buy a couple things of chicken, you're a son of a bitch. What are we talking here? What are we talking here? Yeah, most of these people don't realize that food stamps specifically, they're not just your welfare case, your people who don't want to work. Most of these people are your elderly, you're disabled, you're veterans in many cases. That's the bulk of who gets this shit. This is the bulk of it. This isn't people who just are lazy and don't want to work. And yeah, they are covered too. But guess what? Even if we're going to talk about anything, for that matter, if you're a Christian in this world, the fuck do you care? What do you care? What do you care? Think about this. If our goal was to store up heavenly treasures, well, guess what? Maybe it was God's will for you to work, pay your taxes, and pay somebody else so that they could feed their family. Maybe that was God's will, and maybe God will bless you with spiritual rewards for doing that when you get to heaven. The problem is, your spiritual rewards are going to be null and void because you sat there and pissed and complained, oh, I had to work, well, you're lazy people. You're basically going to squander any type of reward that you got because you're being a GOP asshole. Now, what better way for Satan, the angel of lies, father of bullshit, to do to God, to get to God? He goes through us. What better fucking way than to have that happen? Think about that. Now, yes, I understand the government forces you to pay your taxes, and those taxes go to things you don't like. I get it. But if God is in control, then God is in control. Therefore, your taxpayer dollars go to where they're supposed to go. Now, the government, if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and this is what Jesus said, surrender unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. In other words, shut the fuck up and do what you're supposed to do, and God will deal with that. God will deal with the government. If the government is taking the money and putting it to abortions, God will deal with the government. But you do what's right between you and God. You don't worry about what other people are doing. You worry about you and God. God said, you pay your taxes, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. Is his face on the coin? Yes. You render unto him what is his. And God will deal with him, and God will deal with you. You do it with a willing heart, God will reward you. You do it like a son of a bitch, okay, then you're not going to get a reward. Your reward has been just been squandered. So not only did you get screwed twice, not only did your tax-paying dollars go to something you didn't want, but you're no longer getting a spiritual reward either. So you fucked yourself twice. You got your reward the minute you started grumbling about it. So all these people pissing and complaining, oh, the taxpayer dollars, food stamps and welfare. Okay, well, guess what? Guess what? You just got your reward. I hope it was worth it. Now, again, you want to talk about the great delusion. What better way to delude people, making them think they're doing good, making them think they're doing God's work, when they're doing the exact opposite? If the GOP talking points do not line up with words in red, as I said earlier, you're full of shit. That's the great delusion. I'm sorry. That is the great delusion. Because I take the concept of, if it may be possible, the very elect may be deceived. I take that very seriously. I take that extremely seriously. Because that means that if it weren't for the grace of God, the very elect would be deceived. They would be, if it wasn't for God. Now, I've said this numerous times. For the sake of this clip, I gotta say it again. There will always be a remnant. There will always be a small group of people who get it. You look at any Bible verse, there's always a small group of people who got it. It's just that simple. Now, when you see 81% of evangelicals supporting Trump, that is not the straight and narrow. That is not the path less traveled. That is the wide path. That is 81% of people going down the same fucking road, skipping and singing and la la la, kumbaya all the way down the fucking path as they drop off the edge. Okay. I am definitely a proud part of the 19% who say, fuck you, Donald Trump, you're a piece of shit. Unless you want to repent, unless you want to openly fucking repent, I'm not supporting your shit. Now, he comes out and says, I'm a born-again Christian, and actually says, I repented and asked Jesus into my heart. I would give him a fucking break. I would leave him alone. I wouldn't say a single solitary bad thing about him ever again. It's a fact. It's a fact, but he's never going to do that. Okay, and you got all these idiots like Dobson and the Paula White, and all these other fucking people. They only want him there because they care about money. They care about money. That's the only reason. They want to make America great, and make America financially great. When the fuck in the Old Testament, New Testament, any testament, Was it ever stated that in the end times there will be a revival of Christian faith, which is not what we're seeing? This is not even remotely close to a true revival. And we were going to have a Christian nation with a Christian leader, a strong Christian leader, and we're going to be rich again. When the fuck did the Bible ever say we were going to be rich again? Ever. That is the delusion right there. You are living it and propagating it, worst off. Because that's the kicker. The delusion, the great delusion, means you're going to be doing something that's wrong. And you're going to be doing it willingly. That's what a delusion is. Delusion isn't, the quote-unquote, the falling away. People just getting disgusted with the faith. Yeah, I'm disgusted with the faith, but I haven't fallen away. I've fallen away from their bullshit. Yes, because I'm not going to sit there and kowtow to a fucking bunch of greedy sons of bitches whose sole purpose is to just keep money and make more money and steal money from people who need it the most. Okay, I'm not going to give credence to that kind of shit ever. Ever. I will never do that. So that I've fallen away from, yes, but as far as God, no. No, not even close. So as far as falling away from the faith, if the faith is in GOP, then yes, I've fallen away from that. If it's faith in Christ, absolutely not. That's bullshit. But yet, who has fallen away from faith in Christ? People at the pulpit, people in your church, people who want to sit there and GOP, rah, 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 bullshit. They would rather worship at the altar of Aaron Rand than they would Jesus. And the problem is, half of them are too stupid to even know who Aaron Rand is. Half of them are too stupid to even get that. Half of them are so goddamn stupid, it's not even funny. Now, I'm sorry. The great delusion and the great falling away is going to be your born-again Christians doing stupid shit. Doing stupid shit all in the while, saying, oh, praise Jesus, we're doing it good. Okay. What was it, Ezekiel 8, I want to say? Whatever, I think it's Ezekiel something. Where I think it was Samuel or Saul, one of them, Samuel. And he's going to the people, and the people are like, give us a king. And he's like, no, we don't want to get a king. You don't need a king. So he goes in and talks to God, and God's like, hey, God, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting me. So give them the king that they want. Now think about that. That's what it comes down to. They will literally pray for the king that they want, which is not the one that God wants. They will pray to God to give them what they want. And it isn't what God wants. Now you put that into Donald Trump. There are people who are on their knees praying for Donald Trump. What if this guy really is the Antichrist? What if he is? He is the spirit of Antichrist. He embodies the spirit of Antichrist. Again, he talks peace while talking about going to war with ISIS. We got to come together as God's children, all of us, and then we got to go wage war against ISIS. And bullshit. Okay. He comes in with a bow and, talking peace and be given a bow to go make war. What's he want to do? He wants to start wars with everybody. He wants to start nuclear war with everybody. He is going to create World War III, and that's a fact. If he is left unchecked, he will create World War III, and that's not even a speculation. Okay, that's not even, you just don't like him. No, that is just a simple damn fact. His mouth will cause trouble. Okay. Now, people have this. I'm not saying he is the Antichrist or man of perdition. I am saying that he is of the spirit of Antichrist, and that is a simple fact. He is of the spirit, because all these people, Hagar, whatever the fuck his name. No, Hagar was from the video game. Street Fighter or Final Fight. Excuse me. You got those guys. All these famous preachers, Jim Baker, all these famous preachers who preached about the Antichrist and how he is different than Christ and the differences and how he is completely 180 and blah blah blah, just decade after decade preached and preached and preached. Antichrist is this, Antichrist is that, checklist, he's going to be this, he's going to be that, he's going to be arrogant, he's going to be boastful, he's going to be proud, he's going to have an ego, blah 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 blah. And then right when it comes right into their face, Donald fucking Trump, who embodies every single part of that, they're on their knees thanking Jesus for it. I'm telling you right now, it ain't going to be the damn libtards who are bringing in the fucking end of the world. It's going to be your Republican Christians who are on their bended fuck knee praying to God that the Antichrist comes in and fucks them over, and they're too stupid to even grasp it. And that's a damn fact. That's the delusion. That's the falling away. They're going to be so fucking stupid that they're not even going to see the light of day. They're not even going to see the light of day. And then they're going to wake up and be like, oh my God, we fucked up. We fucked up. They're not going to know it until literally the guy sits on the fucking throne and says, hey, I am God, worship me. They're not even going to realize it until then. Now, I've talked about this. No, I'm sorry, with the exception of like the physical ramifications of end times bullshit. And I say bullshit collectively, not that it is bullshit, because I don't want to have to live through it. And the fact that we've gotten to this point is bullshit, but whatever. Now think about, the bowls being opened and the seals being opened and so on and so forth. The first 3.5 years, the first tribulation, the tribulation versus the great tribulation, we can survive. Now, there's going to be a lot of death and destruction. There's going to be a lot of problems. People are going to be dying by hundreds of thousands. I mean, we're going to be completely ruined. Just completely ruined. I mean, it's going to be, the earth is basically just going to turn and be like, oh yeah, fuck you, boom. It's just, there's going to be natural disasters. There's going to be all sorts of things, and it's going to be horrible. Now, assuming we don't get hit by falling rocks or the earth open up and swallow us, we can survive that. And you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? And I pray to God that there's a pre-tribulation, but I have a bad feeling about it. Because I got a bad feeling about it. That's all I'm going to say on that. I pray to God there's a pre-tribulation, but we as a Christian community, we as the church right now, we do not deserve it. We are like the bridegroom, the women waiting for the bridegroom. We didn't have our lamps oil. We're out looking for the fucking oil. Well, he comes and leaves us for dead. That's what's going to happen. That would be a perfect word picture of a non-pre-tribulation rapture. We are so caught up in the fact that, he's coming, the second coming of Christ, and blah, 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 the rapture, and blah, 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 that we don't have our oil. We don't have our lamps of oil ready. Think about that. That is a good word picture. We are not ready. And the minute that son of a bitch sits on a throne, think about it. He declares he is God. Things are going to rapidly change. You're going to have the mark of the beast so you can buy it, sell. You're going to have to show your patriotism by having a mark. That's what it's going to be. And you're telling me even right now, Donald Trump instituting a mark to buy and sell, Mr. I create jobs bullshit, Mr. I'm a good businessman bullshit. You're telling me that is so far-fetched right now, at this moment, that at this exact moment, what is it, November 13th, I think, 2017, you're telling me that concept is far-fetched? You're going to say that with a straight face? That you literally couldn't see Donald Trump instituting something like that? Here's an interesting little tidbit of fucking reality. Trump himself has instituted, I forgot whatever organization it is, or whatever group it is. He is instructed that we move away from Social Security numbers to something more bio-organic. That we can identify people better. Now think about this. Every time a Christian wants to talk about deportation, every time a Christian wants to talk about election fraud and show voter ID. Every time you want to talk about that bullshit, think about this. What is it doing? It is propagating a mark of the fucking beast where you have to show identification to the New World Order, to the One World Government, to the global community, whatever they want to call it. That is not far-fetched. Mr. I make good deals. Think about it. If you do not show your... We are seeing the President of the United States go after the NFL for people who want to take a knee and saying that they should be fired, and et cetera, et cetera. He is using his presidency to attack organizations and say, you should do what I want you to do. You're telling me you couldn't see him saying, hey, you know what? You don't want to be part of the global community. You can't buy or sell ever again. You can't eat. You don't work. You don't eat. Basically, you're not part of the solution. You're part of the problem. You're telling me that's far-fetched? You're telling me that's far-fetched? This guy is dangerous. This guy is evil. And the people who just don't see it, I'm sorry. How do you not see it? Especially people who preach from the pulpit about what the Antichrist is. What an Antichrist is. What the spirit of Antichrist means. And yet when it's presented in a little box with little ribbons and paper and beauty and bullshit, and you're like, hey, open this up, and it opens up and it's a pile of shit. And nobody says, hey, that's a pile of shit. They're like, oh, thank you for the beautiful gift. It's so great, I'll smear it on my face. Okay. Are you... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And like I said, if Donald Trump came out and openly said he needed Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior, I would not say any of this. I would delete every one of these clips. I would delete every one of these clips. I would. Because... But you're never going to hear him say that. Because what's adorable about it is that the evangelicals needed him to be a Christian. They need him to be Christian. Because they couldn't vote for Mitt Romney because he was a Mormon, and they couldn't stand for Mormonism. And when we see it this time with Trump, he has to be a Christian. He had to be. That's why Dobson came out. Jesus, listen, go back to hear what Dobson actually said. His actual words on the matter. He's like, no, he didn't really get saved or nothing, but I'm paraphrasing, obviously. He's like, but he had a good experience. He's a baby Christian. He didn't really understand what we're talking about. What do you mean you didn't understand what we're talking about? Did he confess with his mouth that Jesus is Lord? Did he confess with his mouth that he needs Jesus and he accept Jesus into his heart to make him a better person? Do you think Donald Trump's ego would allow him to admit that he needs God to make him a better person? What's Trump say? Oh, I don't bring God into that kind of stuff. It's 2 Corinthians. That's the one you like, right? I mean, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? And I'm not saying the guy necessarily even has to be a Christian per se, but the fact that he embodies every single solitary thing that the Antichrist is going to stand for, and Christians just like, praise Jesus. Oh, dude, there's some serious delusion going on right there. There's a legitimate delusion going on right there. Because one of the problems, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to attack Catholics when I say this, but Catholic, for the most part, is a dead religion. It's a dead faith. It is a dead faith. There is no soul to what they do. They go and they light candles. That's about the extent of what they do. And they go to Mass and sit there and listen to a flowery speech about... Because every time one of my Catholic family would die, like when my grandmother died, I had to go and listen to a fucking Mass. And It's weird because they say the right stuff, resurrection, and Jesus is resurrection, and Jesus is, Lord, and blah, 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 blah. But there's no life behind it. It's like they say the words, but there's nothing behind it. There's no there. And it always stuck out to me because it's like the reality is just like, I can't even, it's void is what it is. And the problem with that is you got 99% of people at Fox News who are quote-unquote Christians. They're actually Catholics. And yeah, they say the right words, but everything about it is void. You think, I'm sorry, I don't believe Sean Hannity is saved. I don't think he believes Jesus Christ that way. I don't. I think he's a Catholic. I think he goes and lights a couple fucking candles. Like, God is supposed to give a shit about that. I mean, seriously, the kid's getting raped in a dumpster somewhere, and Sean Hannity's lighting a candle, and God looks down and says, "Thanks, Sean. You did your part." Fuck, just give me a break. Give me a break with that shit. And what happens is you have born-again Christians who are like, "Oh, Sean Hannity's a Christian. He's a Christian. He is a Christian, so what he says must be of Christ." When he has no understanding of Christ. He doesn't. He may say the right words, like a lot like Donald Trump. He says the right words. "Oh, I'm a Christian just like you," and blah, blah, blah. And you're always going to have a opportunity to speak from the pulpit, blah, 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 and nobody's going to take away your right to speak from the pulpit, which is what the First Amendment is anyway, but let's not get into that. Like I said, everything that they say and do is void. There's no life there. So again, you got born-again Christians. "Oh, Sean Hannity is a Christian. He's a Christian." No, he's not. He is a Christian just like Obama's a Christian, as in they don't sacrifice goats on their front lawn. So, yeah, that's Christian. It's a loose interpretation of what Christian is. He's certainly not a born-again Christian. Sean Hannity is certainly not born-again. Oh, you don't know his heart. I may not know his heart, but I can hear what he says. I can see what he does. I can see that he's a schmuck. I can see that he's an asshole. I can see that he wants to be Rush Limbaugh light. Oh, dude, so bad he wants to be Limbaugh. He even mimics Limbaugh. He does. Oh my God, he talks like Rush, and he talks in that monotone, goofy kind of talk, and it's like, dude, come on, have some originality. So freaking pathetic, dude. The guy is legitimately pathetic. I mean, even somebody like Mark Levine, or whatever the fuck his name is. I mean, he tries to be Rush too, but at least he's a little bit more unique. Because he had that little whiny voice. He's not like that. The conservatives and the damn liberals. Whatever. And these are the people propagating bullshit. They don't care about Christian values. They care about their fucking pocketbook. The GOP don't care about Christian values. They care about their pocketbook. Why? Because they are worldly people in a worldly setting that is run by Satan. That's what we were told from the pulpit. Yet all of a sudden Christians just flock to this because it's the most Christian of the group. I mean, think about it logically. Well, the GOP is more Christian than the Democrats. Oh, okay. So you're basically going to pick the lesser of two evils. Sure, because that's how God works. Yeah, Last time I checked, God said, "Hey, guess what? You either worship me or you go fuck yourself. You worship me or you go to hell." Because God really enjoys the middle ground. Yep. Dude, what are you doing? Dude, are you alright? Are you asleep? Damn dog's sleeping. I don't know if you could hear that. Jesus. Fucking dog's hyperventilating under the blanket. Again, I hope you could hear that because it was hysterical. He's like, oh my God. Anyways, yeah, these people are void of any type of spiritual life. And we group it all together as, oh, it's Christian, it's Christian, it's Christian. It's a watered down bullshit is what it is. And you're just eating it up. Eating it up. And that's the state of our Christian nation right now. That's the state of Christianity as a collective whole. We are watered down. The church is watered down. The church is not ready for the bridegroom. It's not. I really don't think there's going to be a pre-tribulation rapture. I don't. First off, the Bible never actually says that. It doesn't. You can sit there and say, well, no, it doesn't actually say that. And plus, it logically doesn't make sense. Because especially if you take the dead in Christ will rise first, like what was their spirit doing before? Their spirit was with Jesus in heaven, and then had to leave with Jesus to come back to meet in the clouds. It's just, there's a lot of logistics there that just don't work. It just doesn't work. No, I don't really want to get into the rapture stuff, but especially again, for the sake of this particular clip, I think the minute you die, you're instantly raptured. I believe that. Because again, the way we're told is we die, our spirit goes to be with Jesus in heaven, whatever that is, whatever plane of existence that is, and then we're going to get raptured and be called up out of the grave. Well, none of that makes sense. It just doesn't compute, because it's like, we're in heaven, now we got to go back, now we got to get called up, and because basically it says that the graves are going to open up, and the dead in Christ will rise first. Well, how does the dead in Christ rise first if they're in heaven? That means there's going to be a moment when they're in heaven, looking at the throne, clouds and harps and shit, okay, and all of a sudden it's like, poof, they're back on earth for half a second, as they burst up out of their own grave, and then they get called up in the air with Jesus. There's a problem there. There's just a logistics of it. It's just fucked up. Where I think the minute you die, your consciousness is outside of time, so therefore, boom, you're automatically raptured. Now, granted, now some people want to call this soul sleep, but I don't think that's a thing. Because yes, we physically have to live through certain things. Like the Bible says, we're presently seated in heavenly places. Well, I'm not presently seated anywhere. I'm actually laying down in the bed with the dog hyperventilating under the blanket. That's not a heavenly place. Believe me, trust me. So, we are outside of time. Now, if God is the Alpha and Omega in the beginning of the end, then time has already ended. Time has already happened. Because there's one or two theories. Either time is just what it is, point A to point B, or point A to point Z rather, or we are at the cusp of every single solitary second that goes by, we're pushing forward. I don't think that's the case. I think it's already completed. I think it's already done. The Bible says we are currently seated in heavenly places, which means we are there. How can we be there if we're here? Because we are still inside time, and we have to, yes, push through time to get to the end, to get to where we are, but we are currently seated in heavenly places. Now think about that. We haven't lived to the potential of that yet, because time is a fickle bitch, is what it is, but let's not get into that. And we basically have to live through certain things to get to that point. Now, putting that into perspective, the minute we die, we instantly are raptured. I believe that is a fact. because it makes more sense. So, okay, my mother's dead, my grandmother's dead, all these other people are dead. Now, I don't think my grandmother was saved, to be honest with you. My mother was. I think my grandfather was. And I think my first aunt was. I don't think Jean was. So, whatever. Well, you take my mother. Okay, so she was saved. We're told right now she's communing with Jesus, waiting for the rapture. Well, I'm sorry. That's stupid because it takes it into a human perspective. Because the rapture clearly hasn't happened yet. So therefore, where's my mother's soul now till then? What must be with Jesus? No. That is a false assumption. I'm not saying it's not true, but it's a false assumption. You can't assume that. It's more logical. Again, we're talking raising from the dead being logical, but that's whatever. It's more logical that the second she died, she was instantly called up to be with Jesus. And then she's already got a spiritual body. She's already there. It's like, it's almost like if you're on one of those rail stations, like a train station, and they flip the switch and you go off track. That's kind of what it is. Now, the original track would go a certain way, but when the minute you get off the turnpike, off the track, you're going you're in a different time zone, essentially. You're in a different area. But yet you're still going forward, but because you're no longer bound by physical time, you're no longer bound by physical reality, you are outside of all of that. So, I think the minute somebody dies, they're instantly raptured. As in the rapture collectively, everybody gets called up at once, and, which is kind of interesting, because think about it. Let's say you died, let's say 100 years goes by, the rest of your family's there, so like people have died after you, so you pop up and all of a sudden like your kids are sitting there like, whoa. Because again, if we're looking at it in time, like, okay, daddy died, the kids are off mulling around with the Antichrist, and daddy's called up to heaven to be raptured because dead in Christ will rise first. Although all the kids are decking around. Well, no, that's not how it would work. You would literally pop up out of your grave, stand there, turn, and oh, there's your wife and your kids. Yet to you, they were still alive. But yet they had to live through it, die, get buried, time moved forward, and then when it happened, boom. So the reunion has already happened. Just we haven't lived to it. It's kind of cool when you think about it. Kind of fucked up too at the same time, but I mean, the fact is we're already dead. I mean, think about that. We have already died. It's not just a matter of someday we will die, but in reality we actually have already died. Think about that. Like, for example, if you died, and let's say the rapture and all that shit and God and the whole nine didn't happen for at least another 100 years, that means your entire family, right now, you look at your family, they're all dead. I mean, think about that. That's sad and scary and creepy. But they're all dead. The minute you die, you will see them at your side. Think about that. That is some creepy shit. So even though I haven't technically died, the old woman will die. Now think about it. My Aunt Nancy was the first one to go of the main group. She died like, I think, 82, 83, 81, somewhere in there. I was just a kid. I was in first grade. So I was like 6, so it had to be 83. Something like that. Well, she died. No, nobody else had died up to that point. But when she gets called up, she's going to be standing with my grandfather, my grandmother, Jean, my mother, and probably myself. Dale T's going to be off with the Hobbit in Skinnerville, but that's neither here nor there. He'll be buried up there on Skinner Settlement Road. Just the idea they had a settlement of any kind for a road. Don't even get me started with that shit, but I don't even want, no, don't even go there. A settlement for a fucking road. I didn't, whatever. In upstate New York of all places, go figure. Anyways, I don't want to get into that, but seriously, my Aunt Nancy, the minute she died, she was resurrected in the rapture, and we were all there. I think that's a thing, because again, if you are no longer bound by physicality, then you are outside of time. The only thing that matters in time is matter itself. So if we're stuck to these physical bodies, we're adhering to time as it is, and we have to live through it. So, in other words, there's going to be a key moment where the rapture happens in the future, and we all sort of just get off the turnpike and go to that exact location instantly. So is my mother's soul in the grave? No. There's nothing there. Now, did she rise from the grave? Yes. Because the minute she died, instantly teleported to that moment, boom. So right now, there's nothing at the grave. Nothing. Because what was there has been transported into the future. So you go, like these people go to the grave, oh, gotta put the flowers, and you're basically catering to dead works. You're basically catering, like Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. Although Jesus did refer to it as a deep sleep, so maybe there is a soul sleep aspect there. I don't know about that, but that would insinuate that my mother's sleeping right now. I mean, it could technically work, but it doesn't really matter, because even if she's sleeping, it's like I mean, seriously, the old woman was sleeping in the bed. I don't go put flowers around the bed, and be like, oh my God, she died. I don't go do that. I mean, seriously, your kids are asleep. Do you go put? I mean, unless you're Jim, do you go? Imagine Jim doing that shit. He puts flowers around the kid, like a whole rose bush around the fucking bed while they're sleeping. Can you imagine that? Daddy, what is all this? It's putting the flowers at the graveside, You died, you were asleep, you were dead, You were dead for a few minutes, I mean, that's basically the equivalent. Only Jim would do something like that. I mean, actually, can you imagine he woke up in like a big, huge thorn bush and he can't move? It's like, literally Jim goes outside with a backhoe and digs up a fucking bush, like a rose bush, and just throws it right in the bed, and he's like trapped inside there with like these thorns stuck into his ass. Oh! I mean, you can see that happening, but neither here nor there. So, I don't know, it's weird, because I don't think we should look at time the way we see time. We have to look at it how God sees time, and God is outside of time. Especially if He is light, and the closer you get to light, the more time slows down. Well, if He's at a certain point, then there is no such thing as time. He is outside of time. That's why He's the Alpha and the Omega, because He can see the beginning from the end, because He can, do what He does. And, it is what it is. We look at it from our point of view of we have to go day by day, second by second. Therefore, everything else has to adhere to that. Well, that's not true. That's not true at all. Especially if you look at the concepts of time and space, that's not true. It's true for us because we're held down by this body. It's like a balloon, like a kid holding on to a balloon. The minute that kid lets go of the balloon's free to go where the fuck it will. Although usually based upon wind current, but that's neither here nor there. But you know what I mean. You get my point. It's free to fly, basically. And once the connection to this body is cut, our souls are free to fly, essentially. And I don't know. So, I mean, again, from our point of view, is like, for example, the old woman, is she sleeping? Like Lazarus, like, could Jesus come and say, arise? No, I don't know. She's been dead for, like, what, 12 years? I don't know how much of the physical body's still alive. No, you look at Lazarus, he said, rise, and he did. See, that's weird, because if he was dead, you're talking like blood clotting, you're talking about turning black, you're talking, I don't know how that would work, because there would have to be some physical repair before Lazarus could just wake up and be like, hey, and live another 10 years or whatever it was. Who knows? There would have had to been some. We're talking 3 days, dude. I mean, Jean was dead 4 days, and she was basically black and rotting in filth. So now, if he was still, then he may not have actually been dead. See, that's the thing. So it would take away from the story of him raising the dead. If there was still some type of pulse and blood flow, and he wasn't that, then yeah, he could have raised, quote unquote, from the dead, because he wasn't actually dead. See, I don't know how I feel about that. But again, if you're talking 3 days, then there's some serious physical shit that happens to the body. The body can't just start back up like that. Now, do we believe Christ had the potential to heal? Yes. Could he have healed it? See, I don't know how that would work, though. I really don't. Because if Lazarus was dead, legitimately, then you're talking, there'd be brain damage. But again, if God could heal, then I suppose he could fix anything. I mean, what if, I don't even know if I want to say this, but what if he had the ability to reverse time? Almost like a time dilation field. So what if Lazarus had been dead, but he was able to reverse time so that Lazarus came back before he died, thus almost creating an alternate universe, like a parallel universe in a way. Because I mean, I don't know how that would work, but it could explain the actual healing process. Where, okay, yeah, he is dead, but if you reverse time before he died, then, I don't know. I'd have to think about how that would play out. I'm thinking more of just a what if, but because it's like, how did he heal these people? Now, if you had like a time dilation aspect where you could actually take something and revert it back to the way it was, yeah, somebody with kidney failure could go back to their kidney could go back to before it was fucked up. Now, they probably would have to live through it again, which would be kind of devastating when you think about it, but whatever. I don't know. I wonder if you could do that. I wonder if you could heal people that way. Like, if you could do time dilation, or you could actually send it back in time to before it was fucked up, that'd be so cool if you think about it. Like, again, somebody has like kidney failure. You go back to before the kidney was fucked up. Like, you go back to send their kidney literally back in time to when they were 10 or something. They'd have another 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is, whatever the age they are at this moment. They'd have another 20 years. And you could keep repeating the process. I mean, think about that. Like, imagine if we could take our physical bodies and send them back in time, like revert them back to what they were. I don't mean like go back and take a younger version of me, but take my body and go back a few years, back before it got all fucked up. I don't know. I mean, is that a possibility? Could that even be possible? Like, imagine if you could do it with like a kidney or your heart or whatever. go back to when you were, let's say, 15. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool if you think about it. I don't know how that would work. I don't know how any of that stuff would work. But yeah, if you could put yourself in a time dilation field, because technically, I'm not sure how it would work scientifically, but if you could if you could go so fast that you ended up leaving before you, or coming back before you left, kind of a deal, like almost like a loop, that you left before you got back before you left, something to that effect, you could technically travel back in time. Although, would it be you? That'd actually be the future you in the past, so it wouldn't be that. So you'd want to bring the past you into the future. I don't know how that would work, but it is theoretically possible to travel in time. Now, whether physical bodies can survive a trip like that, I don't know. But I do think we could send information back. I do think we could send even particles back, maybe to a degree. I think we could time travel that kind of stuff, send messages and shit. I do think that's possible. Radio waves, maybe. Signals of some kind. But as far as like physical flesh and bone, I don't think so. Because mostly the time dilation field, the shit that they're doing is speeding up time. So, in other words, you could put a time dilation field. You could cut something. Let's say, a woman goes through a C-section or something, or you got to have your kidney removed or whatever. They stitch it up and they put like a, time dilation field around the area, and it heals. So instead of having recovery time of like weeks or months, it's hours, minutes, in some cases. That would be kind of cool, actually. Now, I don't know I know people were suggesting that could be a thing. I don't know if it's ever, what they actually did with it. Like if it went anywhere. I don't know. I haven't looked it up. But the implications of that are pretty amazing when you think about it. Like you go have a tooth extracted, you put a time dilation field around that shit, and it heals up instead of being like 3 days of just blood and piss in your mouth or blah, 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 blah. Okay, think about that. I mean, some wild shit. Which would be cool, because I mean, you could put yourself in a time dilation field. You could literally live forever, in a way. Actually, you could, technically, as long as you don't die within like 10 minutes. Like, I'm 40 years old. Let's say I had another 5 years left. I mean, shit, I could travel the entire galactic universe. I mean, shit. I could go 1,000 years into the future. They're 10 minutes there and say, hey, hey, I did it. I don't know. That's some weird shit. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. That's some weird stuff. I don't know why I got talking about this stuff. But, whatever. Anyways, like I was saying about the rapture, I don't think we as a church are ready for the bride of Christ. I really don't. Not with this Trump bullshit, not with this GOP bullshit. I'm telling you right now, we are not ready for such a thing. Okay, we are not. And it is the great delusion. That is the great delusion. The great delusion was, oh, he's coming and we're all, we got to get ready for him, except for, the one thing you do need, and you got to go out last minute, the 11th hour to go get it, and then by the time you got back, you realized he'd already come and left you behind. That seems like a picture of the rapture to me. I mean, in a way. Now, people want to say, well, that's just people who love the idea of God and Jesus, but they weren't saved, and so on and so forth. I think it's talking about a lot more than that. No, the people who are saved, but I don't know. it's definitely a questionable thing, because the church right now is not ready. Yeah, I'm just going to keep saying that, because it just pisses me off, because again, you have all these TV preachers, and they've preached against the Antichrist. They've said, oh, he's going to be this and this and this and this and this, and then the minute they're presented with somebody who adheres to that, just because they have an R next to their name, they just like, oh, sorry. Like, oh, Obama's the Antichrist. Obama because he's a liberal, who gives a shit. But Donald Trump, oh, he's our savior. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread because he has an R next to his name. The guy's a scumbag. He's a legitimate fucking scumbag, okay? He's a legitimate scumbag. He's just like David. He's just like King Cyrus. Give me a fucking break. Give me a break. He is no King David. Give me a break. To say that is blasphemy. I mean, it's blasphemy against King David. Because at least David, yeah, he fucked up, but at least he had repentant spirit on some level. Maybe not at the moment he was doing it, but eventually he was like, hey, I'm sorry. I fucked up. You think Trump is going to admit he did anything wrong? Listen to his tweets. Listen to the words that come from his mouth. You think he's going to admit wrongdoing? Ever? Do you think he's going to admit that maybe he was wrong? Ever? Do you think he has that in him? Do you really, really think he has that in him? I mean, anybody to say, oh, I think he's a humble man. Donald Trump, a humble man. Are you fucked in the head? Give me a break. People need to get right with Jesus, is what they need to do. You go back and read those words in red. If that shit does not line up, then what you're doing is wrong. What you're believing in is wrong. And anybody to say otherwise needs brain surgery, because you're brain damaged. Anyways, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm tired. And I don't want to talk about it. In fact, I gotta pee, so you know what? I'm done. Fuck you.